Hey everyone, Tibasu here with a build guide for my hybrid Chaos Ethereal Knives Nova Occultist. This build focuses on using two uniques, the Covenant, which was recently buffed, and the brand new Ring of Blades unique Jewel, to make our EK into a Nova effect rather than just throwing a few projectiles in front of us. There will be a link in the description to a written guide on the forums if you enjoy that more, but in this video I'll just quickly go over some of the basics to build the character. So this character focuses on using two uniques. We have the Covenant right here, which gives us level 15 added chaos and blood magic to our EK, and over here we have the unique jewel Ring of Blades. Ring of Blades is very important because without it, your Ethereal Knives is pretty... Where's my zoom out button? There you go. Without it, your EK is pretty dull. It kind of just shoots in one direction, and since the projectiles can't shotgun, meaning if all projectiles hit a target, it's still gonna act like only one projectile hit the target. So instead of having all those wasted projectiles, if I could find my skill tree button, there you go. We instead put this gem in, and now we shoot them out on the Nova. Now we can run around and hit multiple targets at once, instead of having to constantly aim at which target we want to hit. Now the Covenant is good for a few reasons. First off, it does give us percent life, which is decent. It's about equivalent to maybe like 80 life until you get really high amounts of flat life, then it starts to scale pretty good. It also gives about 450 energy shield, which is pretty decent. But the main thing is the blood magic and the add chaos. The level 15 add chaos is a free link. Even if it's not a fully leveled gem, it's still very helpful, especially for this type of build. And the blood magic means we don't have to focus on mana at all. You can see on the skill tree, I didn't pick up any mana at all except for this right here, and that's because that has health. And instead of having to focus on our mana, we just need to get a little bit of life regen right here, one over down here, and over here if you feel like it's needed. Some other uniques that are pretty nice. For a weapon, you could use Apex, which I feel like is best in slot because it gives so much flat chaos damage. You can also just use a spell wand. This is good for two reasons. One, you can get resistance on it since we don't need crit or crit multi. You have room for some resistances. You can easily cap chaos res with this. You can see right here, pretty much capped. I am capped with an Aziri's Promise, even with just an Apex. You can also use an Innsbury Edge. It's not very good, but you do get a little bit of Chaos Leech, and some of your physical from your Ethereal Knives is converted into Chaos, which is decent. And you can also corrupt it for Calling Strike. It's more like a hipster niche type of weapon, but it's still worth mentioning. Now let's go look at the links. Ethereal Knives, Pierce, Control Destruction, and Spell Echo. This will be your main 4 link. In here, that's a 5 link, or 6 link if you count blood magic, I guess. Now, the reason why you want Pierce is because we're running around and shooting in a circle. You want to make sure that your Ethereal Knives actually goes through the mobs and hits the rest of them. Pierce is very helpful for things like breaches or beyond, where there's just a bunch of enemies at once. What you can do, you can actually get 100% Pierce two ways. I use projectile weakness. You can get 100% Pierce over here, but that's 6 points. Well, 6 if you get this, 7 if you don't. 6 points to get this. You can get 100%. I feel like projectile weakness is good enough though. And for your next link, you probably just want poison, and then you can get void manipulation after that once you get a bunch of chaos damage. Now for the weapon I mentioned, Apex Rage is probably the best. You can see with the Aziri's Promise, we hit 50,000 DPS. That's with a level 20 Ethereal Knives. And wow, my Pierce is still not level 20. And other gems level 22. Innsbury's Edge, it's not very great, but we do get a lot of chaos damage. Might actually be more. Precious Flash. Yeah, it's actually more chaos damage with an Innsbury Edge than with an Apex. Also Calling Strike, so it's a decent choice. You also get a little bit of Leech. And like I said, the spell damage one is decent. It gives you a lot of fizz damage, so you're gonna have to be a little bit you're gonna have to be a little bit worrisome of physical reflex. So you're gonna need a granite or basalt or both. but you can also get res. Oh, and projectile speed too, because projectile speed makes your EKs fly a lot farther. And with a lot of pierce, if you go for pierce nodes, you can clear packs very, very quickly. Now for a shield, you're going to want one of two things. You're either going to want high life and high energy shield, or you can sacrifice the percent energy shield for spell damage. I recommend actually getting the energy shield, but if you're playing on hardcore, you want a budget shield, just get some spell damage. What you can do is you can also use a Wrathpith globe. It's kind of similar, as you can see. It's just slightly weaker than the shield I'm using right now, but also Wrathpith only has a little bit of resistance on it. A rare shield can get quite a bit of resistance on it. But these things are actually pretty cheap. I think this one only cost me 2 chaos, and you do get a lot of spell damage on it, and you also get spell block and whatnot. So it's not a bad choice while you're leveling up, as long as they're cheap. For other stuff, just some fingerless silk gloves for that little spell damage. You want mainly energy shield, high life, and some resist. That's really all you want. On your jewelry, however, this is where the build gets. Sorry for all my stuttering. This is where the build gets a little bit more expensive if you want it to. You can use some Essence of Envy to craft chaos damage on your jewelry. This isn't like necessary. You can get a decent amount of damage without the chaos damage scaling on your jewelry. You could also just get spell damage on your amulet and some cast speed. But this is more like endgame min-maxing. The problem is you're probably not going to get a lot of energy shield on your accessories if you do this, unless you get like really lucky. So what you might want to do is just level with some good energy shield, life and resist stuff. Once you get really good shield and helmet, then you can try starting your envy crafting. But it's not a huge difference, as you can see. 37.7 or 37.8 almost, 38.3. It's not a huge difference, but it's pretty nice, and it's also going to double dip into the poison. Now for jewels, you can get 2 jewel socks. You could get one right here and one right here. I didn't actually get them because I just recently bought a jewel. I actually couldn't find any jewels that were affordable. But you're going to want something like this: spell damage with shield, projectile damage, and maximum energy shield. You don't actually need a lot of life in this build because you mostly have your energy shield up, as long as you have either Vile Bastion or Ghost Reaver. You can drop 1, but I like having 2 just for safety. Vile Bastion is very nice for clearing, Ghost Reaver is very nice for bosses. So instead of getting life on your jewels, you get some energy shield. You can even drop a few life notes like I did, pick up some more energy shield like Arcane Focus and Void Barrier. And that's pretty much it for gearing. Also, Crystal Belt, like always. You probably want pure ES gear, but if you want to run a cast 1 damage taken setup like this, it's better to get an armor ES gear just for easy coloring. And for a skill tree, this is what the skill tree looks like for me. There are there's a few things you could change. You could drop Force Shaper and get a little bit more energy shield or jewels, which I might actually do, but I need regrets. And you could get piercing shots. You could get, what else is there? Oh yeah, you could also actually get charisma, and you could get maybe 1 or 2 here, and you could try to fit in discipline in the build, which will give quite a bit of energy shield, but I don't really know where I would put that. I would have to drop maybe Abyssal Cry or Flame Dash to fit it in. I'm not really sure where I would fit it, but you could do that at higher levels. And for the leveling, you just kind of go spell damage, go to Mind Over Matter, and Quick Recovery. That way you're just settled on your mana for leveling, and Mind Over Matter is stupid powerful right now for low levels. So you're gonna be very tanky even without armor. Then you just go through practical application, just run all the way over here to a Cool Hearted Calculation, pick up Sniper, go around, get Will of Blades while you're leveling. You can get some physical chaos nodes right here. You can get some blood siphon. You go right down here, ballistic mastery. This is all your right here, sniper and ballistic mastery is all the projectile speed you will get on this build unless you have a quality ethereal knives or use a rare wand. Then just pick up a bunch of health, some damage, whatever you need. It's really gonna depend on the build, the items you have while you're leveling. For example, if you pick up an Apex Rage, which is like level 62, I think. Yeah, level 62. If you pick up an Apex Rage, then you're gonna want to get the Chaos nodes. If you're using a rare wand, you're gonna want probably Force Shaper, then these projectile nodes too. What else is there? If you're using Inspiration's Edge, also physical. And if you are using the Covenant early on, because you can use this thing at like 42, I think, you're probably gonna want Chaos Resist, so you could get some here. You could get a little bit over here. You can pick these up if you want while leveling, but yeah, it's not really necessary. That's also why I do get a little bit of elemental resist from the tree, so I can help cap my resist pretty easily and then work on chaos res. It's a little bit hard to cap though if you are using these rings like I kind of mentioned before, because you're probably not going to get good ones. I just kind of bought these ones, so they're not very good. What you can do actually is you can buy some chaos rings and then try to build the rest of your gear around it, especially if you want to LE weak cap yourself. So for the Sensi, I went occultist because Wicked Ward and Val Bastion is very easy energy shield regeneration for us. We can regen as we're clearing, and we can help prevent our recharge from being cancelled out. Also 100 energy shield is pretty nice. Perfect Bloom is kind of nice. It doesn't proc all the time, it's very inconsistent, but it's nice when it does proc. And Malediction is just an easy double curse for us. I recommend using Warlord's Mark with Ghost Reaver to keep your energy shield up. And the second curse, if you do go double curse, there's a lot of choices. You could go Poacher's Mark for frenzy charges and flash regeneration. You can use projectile weakness for the pierce and the increased projectile damage. You can go tempt chains and feeble. You could go vulnerability. I didn't find it very nice though when using it. And if you want, you can actually play as other classes. You can play as a Trickster if you want some easy frenzy charges and a lot of energy shield. You can play as Pathfinder if you want free poison. Then you could replace this with maybe just faster casting. Or yeah, probably just faster casting or Empower. I would probably go with faster casting though if you don't have either poison or void manipulation, because 4 off colors on the Covenant can be a little bit frustrating. And you could also play as an Ascendant Scion. The Berserker path will give you some nice flat damage, or more damage actually. More general damage, it will give you some leech. The Occultist path gives you some energy shield regen and some chaos pen. And then you can also go Assassin if you want to have easy crit chance. You can also play as an Assassin actually if you want some easy crit capping and crazy strong poisons, but you can see there's not really a lot of room for crit chance in this build unless you maybe cut this whole part out. You cut this part out right here, you can go crit, but without I don't know, it's kind of hard to cap your chaos res without purity of flesh, so you're gonna have to make that choice yourself. So hope you enjoyed the build. Play it if it looks fun to you. If you like it, let me know. If you dislike it, let me know. If you have some feedback on the character, leave in the comments or on the forum guide. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a dislike. I don't usually post a lot of Path of Exile videos. I usually post playthroughs. So make sure you check out my playthroughs before you actually decide for yourself if you want to subscribe. And I hope to see you guys next time.